And welcome everyone to a Tuesday of racing here at Grants Pass Downs, closing day as we finally get set to wrap up our 2020 fall season and all of 2020 racing here at Grants Pass Downs. Such a big thank you to everyone who tuned in throughout these last couple of months, who tuned into the show here or followed us on your favorite ADW, or for the lucky 250 fans a night who have been able to come out for live racing. Just been a lot of fun, and we look so forward to 2021 and hopefully some continued growth. We saw great growth in handle and I think quality of product here at Grants Pass Downs this fall meet, and hopefully we can use that momentum into 2021. But that being said, we have a 12-race card to discuss for this Tuesday. It is mandatory payout in the Jackpot Pick 5. I'm recording this show on Sunday, so we don't know if the jackpot was hit on Monday night or if we have, 30,000 carried over. That's a guess, but I think it's going to be in that range for Tuesday if there's one or more than one winning ticket or none. So we will... we'll stick to gpdowns.com and our social media sites to determine whether or not it carried over into this Tuesday card. The first race on the card is an Oregon bred event at 6.5 furlongs. What's kind of interesting about this race is that a lot of the runners come out of a similar race that was an allowance. It's a state-bred race, so it's restricted to Oregon breds only. And you have Wings of Wisdom, you have Real Changes, you have Racing Ray, who was the winner of that late race back on November 2nd, so just a week ago, all coming out of the same race. I mean, closing week, everybody wants to run, right? Because there's no races in the Northwest here until next April or May. So it makes sense that a lot of entries, including a lot of Emerald horses, as they shut down a couple of weeks ago for the season. But I thought Racing Ray had a pretty good trip last time to get that win, and I thought that the one Wings of Wisdom did not. Broke in the air and was just wide and just never got settled into a good beat. And I think this is a horse who wants to be closer up. We've seen a lot in these races where that inside post position, they might be even with the horse there outside or ahead, but they get to that turn. The turns are so sharp here that they really catapult forward. So I thought at a potentially long price, because Wings of Wisdom is a deserving long shot, maybe an interesting play here. Real Changes and Racing Ray, I mentioned, they kind of battled out with each other. We should mention Bert and Ernie, who was second in the Don Jackson Sprint last week on Oregon Championship Day. This one didn't have the best of trips either and still managed to finish second. It was 12-1 that day, but prior to that had been running against 2,500 non-winners of the year. So because it's a state bred, it really limits who can participate, and I think class is a little bit of a funky thing when talking about that. I should mention Bobby Jean's Justice, who was also part of that Racing Ray race, dueled but was unable to keep with him. But we see that a lot when the horses come out of common races. The one that finishes best will get bet the most. The one that finishes second will bet second, and so forth. And it's just not always the case. There's a lot of things that happen in a horse race to determine the finish. Second race on the card, we stay at 6.5 furlongs, 2,500 non-winner of 2 life runners, and a field of 8, which going 6.5 here, a field of 8 is the full field. That's the most we can do going going 6.5 panels is 8 horses. Number one in my sight at a 5,000 non-winner 2 level, ran a really bang-up race last time. Just got caught by Clarence Heads late. Certainly a deserving favorite. Is extending out in distance, which I know for a lot of handicappers, they see a horse who got past late going short. Isn't it going to be, even worse off going longer? It's not always the case, because a lot of times they get to relax a little bit more early and they're able to hold that speed for a little bit longer. So we shall see if that's the case. I was against Smokey Bar last time, who was 6-5, and kind of against this one again this time. Having watched the horse now a couple times, just doesn't have a real punch. Kind of just grinds, and if this horse is closer, maybe it has a shot to get a win here, but I'm a little bit dubious of that one. I think Away He Goes is certainly one to keep an eye on. Is a good finisher, but again, it seems like so many of these horses are going to be trying to come from off the pace. A horse like Bob Again, who had a terrible start last time, first time against winners, I think could improve if a little bit closer up. I think the 6 Freeze Throne is going to be a major contender coming down from Emerald Downs. We're going to see a number of these Jesse Velasquez runners today coming down from Emerald, and Jesse's a very solid barn from up there, and they certainly deserve a look here in this card. Race number 3, our quarter horse action, $5,000 maidens, and the GC Lucky Cartel Dude was moved up from fourth to third last time out in a race where we had a horse get disqualified, Ultima Esperanza, who's back in this spot. Ultima Esperanza was on the outside and kind of ducked in and draws toward the outside again today. So think of that what you will. The number 7, June's Light, I thought was a very nice performance, first time locally. Came up from Pleasanton and ran a good second. I'm real curious to see what the 5, Revnetta, can do. I thought moved forward a little bit, just in terms of quality of race from start 1 to start 2, and another move forward maybe makes this one a contender. At the maiden level, it doesn't take a ton to, if you get off to a better start or you're just improving, you can certainly step up and win. And horses like the outside runner, Queen of RS, they're going to take money, and deservedly so. But, you're talking about a horse that's 0 for 10 now, has had a number of opportunities. Sometimes these horses just find a way to lose, and you kind of want to look for some of the new shooters like Revnetta. So just some thoughts. Quarter horse race is not my expertise, so you guys got to trust your gut on these ones. Race number 4, it's an allowance, a $8,000 non-condition allowance, so a very good allowance. I thought Favorite Bling was worthy of some mention, the number 3 here, who, was competing against very tough competition back in August and September at Emerald and here. But then the last couple starts after a little bit of break has just run 2 bang-up races at big prices. And again is going to be, I think, a big price here and certainly deserving of a mention. Foos's Flyer, I think, going to be a deserving favorite here, coming off the win in the Autumn Derby, beat Mighty Tony T, who's also in here. Mighty Tony T draws to that one's outside this time, whereas last time Foos's Flyer was on the far outside and Mighty Tony T was down toward the rail. So if the price on Mighty Tony T is right, I'm real inclined to flip-flop him here and give Mighty Tony T a bigger shot in what is our final quarter horse race of the season, I believe. So the 5 furlong 5th race, it's a maiden optional claiming event. King of Wishes we saw back in the summer meet here at Grants Pass Downs and ran pretty decent on debut. Started making up some ground late. Jason Homer has not had a very good fall meet, and he's a very solid trainer. So he's got 3 seconds and 2/3. Just hasn't been able to break through on the win end. This horse was beaten by North Fork in that start. North Fork did break the maiden here during the fall meet, so worthy of mention. Number 2, Officer of War, I think is probably going to be your favorite in here. 2-1 on the morning line. Is going from maiden 8,000 at Emerald to the maiden optional 20 here. As I said, sometimes the claiming prices here, they can kind of, it's hard to explain, but you kind of have to watch because a lot of the field in here are coming out of lesser races, so it might not be a true 20,000 talent pool if they're all coming out of kind of similar $8,000 races. Some speed from the number 5, Heavy Hall, who really took a step forward last time out by being on the lead. Got beat by Snicker and Dan. Rody's a rock star, another with some speed, so could be a lot of gas in this particular race early. There is a slew of first-time starters toward the outside. None of the barns really jumped out as me as big win first out early types, but some decent works on the page, including number 8 being a Boss of Bullet from back on October the 18th. So if you're a breeding player, maybe that's a race that you'll find some intrigue in. 6th race on the card. We are $2,500 non-winner of 2. I mentioned North Fork earlier, who broke the maiden last time out, is back here, first time against winners, was 2-5 that day. So, was really supposed to win that race and won it only by a neck. And so, I often talk about sometimes horses break the maiden and they come right back and win the non-2 because they kind of figure it all out. I don't know if I feel that way against with North Fork. There's some other pretty good horses in here. We do have a horse that's a big question mark, the number 5 Mini Bar, coming off a 3-year layoff. Actually, 2 days from now will be 3 years, or no, tomorrow will be 3 years since we last saw Mini Bar. Running in starter allowance 40,000 at Gold Gate. Those are really tough races. Dan Kenny has had a very fast start to the meet here. This horse has been working here at Grants Pass. Really, hadn't worked at all until September. So at a short price, I would be leaning against, but if nobody bets the horse, maybe it becomes worth the flyer just from the trainer being in good form and the horse having some back class. But, the 3-year layoff thing is certainly a red flag. And the last start this horse made was a good effort. It wasn't like it was pulled up or anything, but something clearly happened. Snicker and Dan, number 6, made a pretty good effort. First time against winners last time as a big long shot. It wasn't beaten too bad. And the 7, Cabiorango, I thought moved forward a little bit after that really bad first time against winners. Stepped up and ran a decent 4th, beaten 2.5. Some speed from the outside and All About Time. I thought kind of a tricky little race and a fun race. And like I said, Mini Bar, I think the big question mark in that 6th race. Man, we're only halfway through the card. Race 7, 10,000 non-winner of 3 at 5.5 furlongs here. And I did want to mention the number 1, Doubling the Money. You know, these higher price claiming races, we're going to see a lot of horses from stakes and allowances kind of dipping down in here. And this one, 2 back at the allowance non-winner of 3 level, ran a pretty good second behind Kissable U. Tried Stakes Company. I didn't think the Ashland was the best stakes of the season here, so I'm a little inclined to not like Double the Money. Bezos for Lily is out of condition. Broke the maiden 2 starts back. Ran against winners last time and did okay, but again is running against non-3 this time instead of just non-2, so maybe wait for that one to come back against its proper condition rivals. 6, Mystical Meadow, I thought made a nice performance last time, but that was in a restricted $4,000 race. I had a lot of trouble with this race, kind of coming up with a solid opinion, and sometimes those are the best races to kind of start looking for prices. I thought She's a Colonel maybe a little bit interesting at a potential price. Trainer Ashley Garcia, horses where you know, it's her second start with the horse. She's 50%, 1 for 2, but was a price, so maybe a price play to look for in that 7th race. 8th race on the card, it's a start of the jackpot pick 5, so we do want to be aware of that. It's an optional claiming $4,000. I do note that the number 1, Hold That Smile, is in this spot, but not in for the $4,000. This is a horse who's a complete win machine, stakes winner here at Grants Pass, and has really gone off form the last couple. Has had easy leads and given them up in races. So shortens up here, I think, which maybe helps this one. The inside post certainly, I think, plays to this one's advantage, but there is some other speed in here. The 3 BS Cyclotron won the first of our claiming series races. Last time out in an open allowance, finished second, and kind of coming for home, drifted out and let El Alto Hombre down toward the inside. I don't know if the horse just got tired or what, but I think a big player in here, if able to clear, but that's going to be a big question mark. There could be some serious pace battling going up between the number 5, Crazy Al, also being a speed horse. I think the 8, Pistol Power, who's really been a 2-turn, by 2-turn I mean at Emerald 2 turns, mile and a 16th kind of horse. On speed figures, absolutely belongs in this field, but I just don't know how close this horse is going to be going 5 furlongs. Does show a win going 6 at Emerald. Kind of made a big backstretch move there. So if this one's able to be close up, because I think they're going to go so fast, I think could be a little bit interesting. Timberlake Gauge also, I think, a horse that could fall into a pretty nice closing trip just in behind the speed as well. The 9th race, one of our features, it's the Josephine County Juvenile Stakes for the 2-year-olds. Slew's Legacy we saw win the Greek Native last week on Oregon Championship Day in a really gutsy performance. Got headed, turning for home, and battled back to get the win, and shows up back here again just off a week's break. I actually talked with trainer Ben Root, or not trainer, but farm manager Ben Root, who said they were going to be pointing to this race. They really had pointed to last week's, but they knew that this week was a potential one as well. Laszlovian shows up in here. It was a nice maiden winner last time out. Thought that was an interesting entry. And then Giacomino was 3rd behind Slew's Legacy last time. Kind of just ran an even race. I thought I was actually expecting a little better from Giacomino, so we'll see if that one can move forward with the outside draw instead of being drawn down toward the rail this time, or as it was last time. 10th race, we start our final pick 3 of the season, 6.5 furlongs, just open filly and mare 2,500 types, and a big class drop here, obviously, for the number 4, Bo Rocks. Has been running, you know, for 7,500, for 5,000, for the Ashland Stakes. I think the drop is a big thing for this one. This horse actually won a stake over the summer meet here at Grants Pass, so clearly a horse who's deteriorated a little bit in form. I think they're trying to get the win here. Maybe they want to get the horse claimed, but definitely one who has a bit of a class advantage over this field. Number 7, Get Yourself Home. Had to jump out of the restricted conditions up into open company last time and got beat pretty bad. But Chief's Little Pearl is a really tough mare, and for these kind of mid-level claiming races. And so I do think this is a bit of a softer group. Star Across the Water, I think, worth mentioning. 3rd last time out, just put in a nice move behind Maz Kanata, who kind of bottomed out the field and went gate to wire last time. So I look for Star Across the Water to have a much improved effort here in the 10th. How are we doing on time? Oh, we're doing good. Okay. The 11th race on the program, 6.5 furlongs for 3-year-olds and upward, and you get the number 1, Eddie and the King, coming off a win. I didn't particularly like that race as a whole, so I'm kind of looking against that one as a primary contender. Number 4, Addercop, I loved last time out. Last week, ended up getting beat 3/4 of a length. I just thought the trip 2 back was really bad. The horse took a noticeable move forward. Draws a little more toward the inside. Has covered ground in both those last 2 starts with an outside draw in both of them. So gets down toward the middle of the pack, and I think a deserving horse. 5, Dizzy Dancer, I think probably going to be a single for a lot of people. Probably one of the shorter prices of the day. has been running very, very well against optional 62.5 runners, and it's a big class drop, and this is a class drop for a horse that's already in pretty good form. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if that one is a pretty short price. The 6 working is going up in class in terms of condition. Was $3,200 wins of the year, restricted $2,500, but won both those. And I never mind a horse going up when they're in good form. So I think at a possible little bit of a price, maybe a kind of an interesting runner. The season finale, the Grants Pass Mile. The reason I put up the quotes, it's actually 1 1/8 miles. We can't run a mile here because it's a 4 furlong track, so the start would be literally not even a 16th of a mile into the first turn. Any horse drawn outside, and our turns here are very sharp because it's a half-mile track. Any horse drawn outside would just be screwed, to be blunt. So it's 1 1/8 miles. They get a full 1/8 of a mile run to the finish line, so they start way back in the chute. A lot of the horses coming out of that special long distance race we had a few weeks ago that was 1 11/16 miles. So this is the second longest race we've had since I've been here, and a number of the horses are shortening up. Interesting enough. Hey Sequoia won that 1 11/16 miles race. Has won 2 in a row, and just, we don't run a lot of mile plus races, and this horse has won 2 of them, so clearly one who loves the added ground. That was a peculiar race, right? It's a 3-minute long race. There was a lot of little subtle moves throughout, and Hey Sequoia kind of made a big move at the end, and so I kind of went back and watched that replay. I didn't glean a whole lot other than I know Hey Sequoia is a good finisher. Really excited to see Fantastic Day in here. We've seen 2 big wins in the last couple of starts for this horse, and one big one locally, winning the Medford. Circled the field from way, way back, which is not something we see a lot here at Grants Pass Downs. The distance is obviously a little bit of a question mark. By Medaglia d'Oro, this horse was a $500,000 purchase. We told the horse's story last time it ran, but I don't see any reason why this one isn't a major contender in here. The number 5 West Coast Indy was competing at longer races at Emerald before coming here to run in that 1 11/16 miles, and had the lead turning for home, just got caught by his Sequoia. Maybe the shortening up helps this one a little bit. And Dan Kenny has beat the Heat, who really was an impressive allowance winner last time out. I'd been running against Stakes Company down in Arizona, and those are not easy races. So certainly one that belongs in here on class. And Cape's Hot Rocket figures to be one of the speeds. I mean, this horse is on the lead going 5.5. It's got to be on the lead going 1 1/8 miles, right? We'll see if it can make it go that long. The one race at 1 16 miles at Grants Pass last year for Cape's Hot Rocket led into the final turn, just ended up getting caught late. So distance certainly a question. Speed is not a question. Drawn outside too, I got to think they're going to want to get over the rail by the time they go into that first turn. But should be fun to watch the Grants Pass Mile. We want to thank again everybody for joining us all throughout this season. We wish you the best of luck on closing day, and be sure to stay in touch with us on the off season on all our social media platforms, as well as gpdowns.com. To the horsemen, thank you so much for running your horses. To the horse players, you guys are our customers. We're so glad that you joined us at Grants Pass Down this fall. It's been a great honor to call the races here, and I look forward to doing it again next year. Thanks everybody. Best of luck on closing night.